Bob Wilkie here with you. Listen, we're trying something new out. So if you're on YouTube and you got a notification, or if you're on Facebook, awesome. In the chat here, feel free to share anything, ask questions as we go along. Not a big script for this. We're always innovating here at I Got Mine, and this was an idea in talking with the Nutrition Collective. What can we do? What could be different? And so we put these little shorts together. So great conversation. Join us for 30 minutes. We'll share when the next one's going to be. We're talking about all things health. Tonight's a really cool topic, and I've got Mikey and Carmel with me. So let me just bring the ladies in. Here's Mikey. Hi, Mikey. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
And Carmel.
Hello, everybody.
Let's see if this works now. Yeah. It's supposed to be clap. Again,
clapping. Yay. We're happy to be here. Yay.
Come on.
Yay, Bob.
Can you guys hear that?
No.
You didn't hear that one? There we go. Now it's working. Okay. We'll save that till the end. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. I think this is awesome. It's so important, all these different things that I know that we're learning, that I'm learning from you all, which I think is awesome. And tonight we're going to be talking about something called leaky gut. That sounds awful.
It can be.
Is it awful?
It can be.
Yes, it's awful. Yeah, it can cause a lot of discomfort.
Okay. So a little bit, because a lot of people I think that are going to be listening don't really know who you are and what you guys have been doing, why you call yourselves the Nutrition Collective. Carmel, a little bit about you and what you're doing here.
Sure. So my name's Carmel Javis. This is my second career. So I'm kicking off life as a nutrition consultant, and I'm also taking a course in live dried blood analysis. So if you ever want to hear about that, I'd be tickled pink to tell you all about it. But my history is I'm a chemical engineer by training. I spent all my career in oil and gas, and with this parts of it were stressful, parts not, but it was a pretty stressful career. By the end of it, I was at the point thinking I needed to probably move on and do something else, or my health would be impacted by it. But I did hear about leaky gut I'd have to say it's probably 15 years ago, when I was starting my journey into my own health and what was going on. And at the time I was feeling like even if I had drank some water, I'd probably gain some weight. So I was desperately doing my own little searching and whatnot, came upon a doctor named Dr. Gundry, who was doing a lot of little annoying videos, where they repeat and repeat and repeat themselves, and you get a couple little snippets. But what he was saying about this leaky gut was making a lot of sense to me. So I was following him, and of course got sucked into buying some of his supplements and whatnot. But now, this many years later, including my own training, since I took holistic nutrition class from a Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, it's actually a real thing. And it's also known as intestinal permeability.
Okay, we'll get into that. So the first question I have is tickled pink. So what does that look like?
Oh, you're making me blush.
That's fun.
Leave it at that.
Mikey?
So this is also probably my fourth profession. Seems like my eighth. Was painter, wallpaper, landscaper, and I'm trying to make an exit plan to get out of that. So I've always been interested in nutrition. So I went back to school for that, certified holistic nutrition consultant. And then I'm also working for a company called Metabolic Balance, which takes your blood work and then it'll make a meal plan based on 36 different markers that shows up in your blood. And then they create the meal plan. And then I coach you on how to eat properly based on that. Leaky gut, I didn't know much about it. Carmel just asked me that question. I think probably when I went to school, but now that I think about it, years ago, I had psoriasis and I looked into it, and there was a guy that was was talking about that then. But that was probably, oh man, 18 years, 19 years ago. So yeah, it's been around. And then learning about it in school and how important it is now to talk about it.
Yeah, well, let's go to that first, right? It's a phrase that I've not heard. We were talking about before we started. It's not something I've ever heard my doctor say. It's not something I've ever seen, even on TV, right? With all the shit that they're pushing on TV, with all the drugs, they never talk about that. But I did start to hear some people talking about it on social media. And so I think a lot of people's ignorance level is quite high when we talk about leaky gut, right? It doesn't sound good. But I don't have that problem, right? A lot of people, because they don't feel sick in any way, they don't feel like maybe this is something that would be relatable to them or that they could even suffer with. But I'd be curious, ladies, because I know you do a form of finding out about your clients, the NSP, I think it's called. Yes.
Nutrisystems profile.
So, Mikey, why don't you start us off? What is the NSP? Just talk a little bit about that, and then I'll go to Carmel.
So it's just a series of questions, and you answer on a scale of 1 to 3 how prominent they are of the symptoms that you're having, and then it goes over the different. It spits out results, and then it'll tell you what I'm drawing a blank right now. What parts of your body that could be off, or there could be an issue somewhere. So it's pretty cool because you can see cardiovascular, you can see leaky gut, you can see parasites, you can see all sorts of different things.
And how they all Carmel, I mean, some of these questions are a little personal, going through the NSP.
Yes, they are. They really are. Yeah. So if anybody's been following along with us before, we talked about all of the different body systems. And you can go back and see those recordings, but all those systems are what Mikey was saying is what we look at in that NSP form. So based on your symptoms, it kind of leads us to the body systems that are imbalanced. And many times it's leading us to there's an imbalance in your gut, your digestive system. And a leaky gut or intestinal permeability is often underlying a lot of the symptoms and a lot of the issues you're dealing with, whether it's brain fog, gut aches, joint aches.
Yeah, it's not formally recognized, so it's not a medical diagnosis, but it is measurable, and it pertains to different. And everybody's had it in their life at one point or another.
I think that's an interesting point, right? Because a lot of people, I think just a lot of people that I've met over the years are maybe looking at their doctor a little out of the side of their eye, maybe not as trusting just for some of the situations. So how would a doctor even know what leaky gut is if they don't do any more training? They're just doctors. Okay, I listened to ladies talked about leaky gut. Doc, do I have it? Is he going to be able to answer that question?
No, I think where the path that they go down is if you have a lot of gut, just specifically gut symptoms, they'll start looking at maybe, is this celiac disease? So that's the only one. And then some of them that might be a little more enlightened might test you for sensitivities to foods if you're having a lot of gut problems. Although that one's tricky because if you stop eating those foods, they won't show up as being sensitive. So the normal kind of allergy tests that, naturopaths and other doctors do, those are different than food sensitivities. So it's all kind of dancing around the whole idea of the leaky gut and intestinal permeability. But doctors, the best they can do, and this is, I understand, is quite invasive, is a celiac test, and they actually go in and look at your intestinal lining to see what's happening in there. But what can happen is, reduced absorption, like they're not able to absorb iron very well, so they're not able to get iron out of their foods like meat and spinach.
Is there something that a doctor would maybe prescribe that would be, I'm going and I'm not quite feeling right? Is there anything that you guys know of that they might be quick to suggest? No,
I don't know.
yeah, just a question that
think
pops
so.
in my head.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is one of those things that, the doctor goes, you're
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah.
There's not much I can do for you, unless they do that celiac test. And again, it's quite invasive and not very pleasant. So
Do you guys, Mikey, do you want to pull up the slides?
Sure.
You want to talk about some of those learning points that are on there? Because I think it's important as we set the stage. So it's something that a lot of people have. Carmel, percentage of the people that you've done NSPs that have had leaky gut?
High 90s. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that you'll have it forever. But if you're showing a lot of symptoms and things that are bothering you, there's a high likeliness that there's something going on in your gut.
Okay. Mikey, I see. Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, I see your notes and stuff. Sweet. Mikey, how about you? NSPs and the amount of people, what's the percentage of people that have leaky gut?
Oh, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good indication on a lot of people to some extent.
Yeah, 80%, 40%, what?
I'd say probably 70%.
Okay. Yeah. So it's something that's quite common. Carmel, if you're coming in over 90, Mikey, you're coming in over 70. That's a lot of the population. So that's the point that I wanted to make is people, they wouldn't even know, right? But you guys just taking that NSP is a really good way to find out that you do.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you talk about leaky gut. You want to go to the next one there, Mike? I think there's some really cool learning points. Okay, so there's intestines. There's two of them. I know. I went biology 10, as well as far as I got. So I knew that there's a large and a small. Which one's first? Which one's more important? What do they do?
I think they're both important.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Good question, Bob.
Yeah, the small intestines is the longest one. That's about 20 feet, and it varies per person. Like obviously, you size difference in the individual. That's 20 feet, and the large intestines is like at the end, and that's your last 5 feet. And I think probably, I don't know, what do you think? Which one do you think is more important, Carmel? The small or the large?
I think when we're talking leaky gut, it's probably the small intestine.
Yeah.
That has all that lining, the mucosal lining, and it's responsible for allowing the nutrients in and out of the blood, right?
Yeah.
The large intestine is very important for the microbiome, right? And our gut bugs and them being balanced. And that also comes into play here as well. So yeah,
so the food comes in. Does it go through the large or the small first?
Small.
Goes through the small first.
Yeah. And then that's where, so you're hoping that your stomach can break down food.
Yep.
So actually digestion starts when you're looking at food, when you're thinking about food, right? So then that gets all your saliva going. So you start, and then the, you're already thinking about everything in your juices get going in your gut, and you chew. Hopefully you chew a lot. Sometimes I forget to chew, but like 30 times per bite, and that breaks it down, and then it goes down into your throat and then into your stomach, and then that starts pushing it all around, and then it gets pushed down with other different bile and juices, and from your different organs it gets into your stomach, and then it goes into your intestines, starting with your small intestine.
Okay. So slobbering at the mouth, right? You drive by one of the chicken places and you can smell it in the air and you just feel it's like, oh, so that's activating the system.
Yeah.
Time to eat.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, get some.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Just something that, like the dogs, you feed the dogs and they're spitting all over the dish while you tell them to wait for their food, right?
Yeah.
It's not often you see people like that, but I have seen people like that for sure.
I've seen people like that,
Right? Yeah. Especially, at a Denny's at 3 a.m. I see that a lot.
Yeah. Well, and it even should be like that, because sometimes we just, grab food and eat it so fast, we're not even giving our body a chance to get all that stuff started. So that causes issues as well.
The lack
Mikey,
of
can you go back to that other slide there? The learning points?
Yeah.
Okay, so we covered what the intestines are. You've talked a little bit about leaky gut, but not in a way that I understand. You guys are using language that I don't understand. Okay.
Okay. All right. So here's a cute little cartoon that's trying to show a little cross section of your intestinal wall. And so on the bottom there, that's actually a blood vessel, the little tube. And that's where, you want your blood, your little red blood cells are in there, nutrients are in there, some good bacteria, because they say now that the blood has its own microbiome. So it has a balance of good and bad bacteria. So, and then the food particles get in there, and it's your blood cells that absorb, your red blood cells that absorb the nutrients, and they deliver them to all parts of the body that need the good nutrients, amino acids, fats, all sorts of things, right? So on the side with the blue background, that's the healthy part. So you can see where it's pointing out little good bacterias. The green dots are food particles. There those little finger-like things, they're called villi, and they're covered with a mucosal lining, and that protects them. But the little fingery guys, they're the ones that kind of go and grab the food and the nutrients and the stuff that they want. And then what they're going to, that's the little kind of column guys are like one, that's only one cell thick. So that's very, very tiny, very, very small. And then the little lines in the middle of those columns, the 3 lines, yeah, right there, those are what we're going to talk about is the tight junctions. So they keep those little fingers, or I just lost the word for them, my little guys, tightly held together so that toxins and bacteria and viruses, all that, do not get through. Now, the body is interesting because it does have this protein called zonulin that we actually get from gluten. And that every now and then that actually allows the tight junctions to open up a little bit. And the body goes in, the immune system goes in and checks in what's going on in the blood. Are we good? Do we have toxins? What's going on? So it happens naturally that they come apart a little bit, but we get in trouble when it becomes chronic and they're coming apart all the time. And then that's what you're seeing on the other side with the kind of pink background.
Like an air filter in the car, you go for your oil change and they kind of fan it out and say, look at this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the same kind of thing. Is if it's good, you shouldn't see anything, right? But when the new one they put in, it's like, look, it looks so good, right?
Yeah.
You take that old dirty shit out. So, Mikey, when it gets to the left, and there's a lot of gaps, and there's a lot of things going on in there. How could this start, right? Because I would think that everybody has that same build that we're going to start in the blue, and
Right.
over time, Mike, why don't you just share a little bit about what starts to tear the wall down?
Well, one of the main factors would be stress. And it's not just stress of, like, say, problems at work, but stress of what you're eating, what you're drinking, if you're sick. Carmel, if you could think of any other. There's different,
Yeah, like antibiotics,
toxins that
medication.
you could get, medication, all different things that could cause it to wear it down.
Like aging, or just not eating well?
Well,
I
it's
think,
inflammation. So stress causes inflammation on our body system. And so a lot of these things contribute to inflammation. And so if you're really looking at the bottom line, it's internal inflammation is causing those tight junctions to come apart. And then if your body can't calm and regulate itself back down, it's going to keep happening over and over again. Yeah.
So a real combination of things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike,
absolutely.
you had an analogy before we started as we were kind of warming up there. I think that's important to share, because a lot of people drink coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing some research, and there was someone that was explaining it like a coffee filter. So you have your coffee filter, and if you're eating well, like it goes, you pour, you put your food in it or pour your water, and then it comes out and it's supposed to drip really nicely. But like over time, if you're adding all this other, like, poor diet, coffee, over, like, alcohol consumption, antibiotics, everything, like that goes in, and then it rips
Right,
holes
yeah.
in your filter. So that's leaky. So it's kind of the same concept, I guess.
You get coffee grounds at the bottom of your pot. It's
Right.
like,
Sucks,
oh,
right?
I
You
don't
fill it
want
up
this
too much, and
coffee.
like it ruins the coffee. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I hope everybody's getting an understanding out there. Let me just check. There's some people here. Oh, good. If they have any questions, I'm not quite sure how you do it. There's chat. Oh, good. Somebody. Interesting in that I've been diagnosed with PTSD and suffering from severe gut health challenges most of my life. Shane, thank you so much for sharing. Ladies, PTSD, right? That's just constantly under stress, the system. I know that one. Talk a little bit about how that could be affecting Shane.
Yeah, it's the stress. So your body isn't working up to par, I guess. So you're constantly in that fight or flight mode, and then that puts stress on your body, which causes inflammation.
Yeah. Your body just wants to deal with the stress, right? It's like we're not digesting right now.
Yeah.
We are dealing with the stress. So we either got to fight or flee. And so then your poor gut, you're not getting the acid you need to break down your foods very well. So then the big chunkets are trying to get into the system, I guess, like those big chunkets going through the coffee filter.
Yeah.
So they're bumbling around. Now they get into the small intestine, and they could probably easily damage those nice little one layer cells and the villi, right? Because they're just one cell, one little layer, and the tops of them can get shaved off, and they'll get irritated and inflamed. So it gets back to inflammation. So a lot of our chronic issues deal with inflammation. And we really, when you think about it, it's regulating. We need to regulate back down. And a lot of the stuff we talk about in your community, Bob, right, is regulating.
Shane's got a great question here. He says, any parallels between PTSD and gut health? And I can tell you what I understand about PTSD is that my whole body was just constantly running hot, right? There was so many different things that could trigger me. I was always on edge. And just when I would relax, something would happen and I'd be activated again. So the system was always running hot. What I learned through my journey was that causes everything else to break down. So now I've got the inflammation. Now my shoulders hurt. Now my hips hurt. Now my knees hurt, right? Now I get headaches. All those different things that I struggled with over the years. And it wasn't until I started listening to you ladies with the Nutrition Collective that I was really able to start to make those connections, right? When Mikey was going through her training here at the house, and she's like, oh, mental health and the gut and all these different things. So Mikey, why don't you talk about some of the parallels between PTSD and somebody's gut health?
Well, like we'll go back to some of our previous discussions. When you're under stress, the PTSD, you're in fight or flight. So your body does not digest. So you're just, it can't properly. And then you're not getting your nutrients that you need. And then that is like it's just a big circle because you're stressed, you're not getting the nutrients you need, and your body can't repair itself,
Carmel, a little bit about some of the talks that you guys had. We were really making that assimilation between being stressed, right? Shitty day. Life is challenging, right? I got some news, whatever it is. But how we create those patterns to eat certain foods and why that, they talk about the gut-brain connection. I don't want to confuse people, but a lot of times the bad crap that we're shoveling in is a stress response.
Yes, yeah, it absolutely is. And a lot of it, that's where the term comfort food comes from. People go back and somehow, whether it was learned from their childhood or whatever, they remember happy things happening when they had a bowl of ice cream or, something like in my family history. On Saturday nights, we all sat down to watch the evening movie and we got a bowl of chips and a little glass of pop. And so every time I think about chips, it's a fond memory, right? And I might not always think about the movie and the whatnot, but it was nice family time, right? So the comfort foods, or even like the smell of bread or pie, or but a lot of it has to do with the sugars in there, because sugar, really, they say sugar is more addictive than cocaine, and it just helps us. It sparks the neurotransmitters that are calming, right? And then
Dopamine,
so that's why we often
melatonin.
reach out for sugars and stuff like that.
That peanut butter is just so good before bed. Like it just gets right?
Well, at least you're getting a little bit of good fat in there.
Not anymore. I'm winning. Great. Shane, thank you so much for those questions. Anybody else that would have any questions, please put them in the chat. I figured out how it works. So we want to keep this tight, in this new format, because we could talk forever. A couple quick things, lady. Possible symptoms. What could somebody be experiencing if they've got leaky gut?
So symptoms. Well, there we can go over what we did back there. We should probably look at that slide. Go over that again. So we went chronic stress, infections, junk food, not having enough fiber, overconsumption of alcohol and caffeine, toxic chemicals, pesticides, molds, fungus, dysbiosis. You want to talk about dysbiosis, Carmel?
Sure. So we talked about dysbiosis in our previous talks on the digestive system, the intestinal system. So that's our good and bad bacteria in our microbiome. We have both of them. They both have a job to do, and they both excuse me, need to stay in balance. So it's when one or the other is out of balance. And so this dysbiosis is saying that you have more kind of bad gut bacterias in it. And it seems to be, it contributes to, well, it's chicken and egg. It may not contribute to the leaky gut, but what it does is the bad bacterias then are getting down into the bloodstream, and then they're causing more acidity inside your bloodstream, and that will impact, like it can get to your joints. This is where some of that joint health or pain or discomfort comes from, when all this stuff is getting through, gets into the bloodstream, and then can wreak havoc over the whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Go ahead, Mike.
nope, that was perfect.
Yeah, I think those are, well, I need to be aware, right? Like you ladies are sharing some really good information. We've had some good questions that could maybe shed some light on what some people are struggling with. Okay, so if I think I've got something like this, is there anything that I can do, right? We are a very quick fix society.
Mm-hmm.
So is there one of the things that we talked about in the learning points from tonight is, what can I do to support better gut health? Just give me one tip, because we're going to come back and we're going to finish this talk on leaky gut because it's so good. But for the listeners, before we shut her down, give me one thing that I can start to maybe eat, drink, do that's going to help my gut.
Okay, can I jump in there, Mikey?
Yep.
So
sure
the
can.
one thing that there has been actually a lot of research on is the amino acid L-glutamine. And so if you take, generally, I've seen it in powders or capsules, but L-glutamine can repair damage, tighten the junctions, reduce inflammation. And it appears in the research that that one little layer of cells we were talking about, they are called enterocytes. But anyways, they prefer glutamine as a fuel than glucose. So a lot of our body uses glucose as energy, but the research has shown that glutamine is the preferred food or fuel for those cells. And if you can give that to your gut lining, those cells, then it can help them get back their strength. Yeah, it's even going so far as to say, the little mucosal lining will come back. I mean, it's not going to happen tomorrow. None of this stuff. It's taking us a long time to wreak havoc with our body, so it takes a little while to build it back up. But if there's one thing I would say to really consider is to start taking some glutamine.
Or bone broth has another, bone broth has L-glutamine in it. So that's one of the
Yeah.
Mike, can you
supplement.
stop sharing
Take the
that?
supplement, you could do bone broth. Yeah, the supplement would probably be better.
Mikey, can you stop sharing that screen for a sec?
Sure.
Please and thank you.
Yeah,
so bone broth.
Yeah,
And
bone broth is an overall nourishing food, definitely.
Yep.
And then with glutamine, they're complementary. So glycine is the amino acid we get out of bone broth. That's really helpful for repair.
A lot of people wouldn't know where to get bone broth.
Well, you can get it and you can make it, but it's tricky. You got to actually look up how to make bone broth, because you could end up giving yourself issues if you have histamine issues.
Okay, so I don't want to do that. So where do I buy it?
Most supplemental stores have it, and then grocery stores have it now. They carry it. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's what is it, Higher Ground or something that's down here in Midnapore.
Yeah.
They sell it, and I think you can go right to their location and get it. They've got powder form. I'm not sure if they have liquid.
Yeah, it's in a frozen bag. Actually,
Yeah.
their bone broth. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I've tried it.
They have popsicles. Like you can get mango tasting popsicles and everything.
Yeah.
I have a friend that is going through, had gone through chemo, and that was one of the things she was using to repair her gut, because the chemo was doing lots of damage, but
Really cool. Thank you so much, ladies. We're going to be back. Mikey, what was the date you chose?
19th, May 19th, 7 p.m.
We're going to continue the leaky gut discussion because there's even more. Hopefully it opens your eyes a little bit, right? You learned something really cool here. If you have any questions, ladies, where can they reach you? You can send messages through the I Got Mine channel, and we can pass them along, but where can they find you? Mikey, you go first.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at I Gut Mind. You could call me or text me, like get a hold of me. I think Facebook and Instagram would be the easiest way.
You don't tell people to call you on Facebook.
Call
Mikey,
me.
what do you do?
My husband doesn't know.
Oh boy, we're gonna have to make sure this one doesn't make it live.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
also
got
on
at I Got Mind,
Yeah.
I Got Mind, not I Got
I Got
Mind. I
Mind,
Got
yeah.
Mind. Yeah. And Carmel?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram also under my full name, Carmel Javis. You'll find me there still. And then I do have email called Simple Bliss Nutrition, or my email is carmel@simpleblissnutrition.com.
Okay. Next time we come back, we're going to make our social media our name so people can get in touch with us. We're learning as we go. Listen, if you liked it, share comments, help us out. Yeah, we love being here. Right, ladies? This is fun.
Yeah,
This is great.
it's
We can
fun.
talk about this all day.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a little bit. And we'll see you on the 19th, 7 p.m. We'll be streaming just like we are right now. So thank you very much. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
You're welcome. Have a great couple of weeks, people.